You have never met them. You do not know their names, their lives, or anything about them as human beings. But the moment they walk onto that pitch in the wrong shirt, something shifts inside you. Not irritation, not mild preference for the other side, something that feels closer to genuine hostility. And the most unsettling part is that you know it is irrational. You know these are just people playing a game. You know none of this actually matters in any measurable way. And yet the feeling is completely real. So where does it come from? The answer starts not in a stadium, but on an African savanna 200,000 years ago. For the vast majority of human history, the group you belonged to was the difference between life and death. Your tribe fed you, protected you, and carried you through conditions that would have killed you alone within days. But other tribes were a different calculation entirely. A neighboring group was not just a collection of strangers. It was a direct competitor for the same food, the same water, the same territory that your survival depended on. And a brain that failed to treat them as a threat was a brain attached to a body that did not survive long enough to pass its genes forward. So the human brain developed a threat response specifically calibrated to outgroup members. Not a vague discomfort, a sharp, fast, automatic hostility that activated before conscious thought could intervene. See someone from outside the group, categorize them as a threat, react accordingly. This is the mechanism that kept your ancestors alive for hundreds of thousands of years. And it is the exact same mechanism that activates when you see a player in the opposing team's shirt. Your brain does not know the difference between a rival tribe and a rival football team. It was never designed to make that distinction. In 1954, social psychologist Muzaffar Sherif ran one of the most revealing experiments in the history of human psychology. He took two groups of 12-year-old boys at a summer camp and kept them completely separate for the first week, allowing each group to develop its own identity, its own name, and its own internal bonds. Then he introduced them to each other through competition. Within hours, the two groups were calling each other names. Within days, they were raiding each other's cabins and burning each other's flags. These were ordinary children from stable homes who had never met before and had no history of conflict between them. All it took was a group identity and a competition. The hostility did not need to be taught. It emerged automatically from the structure of the situation. Sheriff called it realistic conflict theory. The idea that competition over resources produces automatic hostility between groups even when those groups have no prior reason to dislike each other. But here is what makes it even more interesting. Researchers studying what happens inside the brain during rival sports matches have found something that goes beyond mere dislike. When fans of one team watch the opposing team score, the brain areas associated with physical pain activate. Not metaphorically, measurably. The same neural circuits that fire when you stub your toe or burn your hand fire when the wrong team scores. And when their own team scores, those same pain circuits quiet down and the reward circuits associated with personal achievement activate instead. Your brain is not watching a football match. It is experiencing one. The players on the pitch are neurologically extensions of your own body. Their success is your success. Their failure is your failure. And the players on the other side are neurologically equivalent to a physical threat. This is why rival fans have genuinely elevated cortisol levels during matches. This is why blood pressure rises, sleep is disrupted before big games, and the immune system shows measurable suppression during tournament periods. The body does not know it is watching sport. It thinks it is at war. But there is one more layer to this that almost nobody talks about. Because the hatred of the opposing team is not just about threat, it is about identity. Psychologist Henri Tajfel ran a series of experiments in the 1970s that produced one of the most uncomfortable findings in social science. He divided people into groups based on completely arbitrary criteria: a coin flip, a random number, a meaningless preference between two abstract paintings. And then he gave them the power to distribute rewards between members of their own group and members of the other group. Every single time, people gave more to their own group and less to the other, even when it meant both groups received less overall. They were not maximizing their own reward. They were maximizing the gap between their group and the other. Tajfel called this in-group favoritism. But what it really revealed is something darker. The human brain does not just want its own group to win, it wants the other group to lose. These are two completely different motivations, and the second one is far more ancient and far more powerful than the first. When your team wins the World Cup, the joy you feel is real and immediate. But the satisfaction of watching the opposing team eliminated, watching their fans devastated, watching their players walk off the pitch with their heads down, that satisfaction runs deeper. Because it is not just about football, it is about the ancient confirmation that your group is the one that survives. And theirs is not. You know this is irrational. You have always known it, and it has never made the slightest difference. Because this was never about reason. It was always about survival. If this changed how you see the rivalry, subscribe to Human Archives. The hatred was never really about football.